Hey y'all, do you have a ridiculously long pair of jeans that you've been procrastinating or flat out avoiding fixing? Even with your tallest shoes on, there's no getting around it, huh? Yup, same here. Let's fix them together. It's easy, trust me. You're gonna start off by pinning one of the pant legs in place to your desired length. I'm folding it up a little bit higher so I'll be able to wear other shoes. Then you're gonna take it over and mark the folds. Now, what I like to do is I like to mark the underside of the folds and the outside of the folds. Now, you don't have to mark the underside, but that's just a personal preference. I'm a huge proponent of measuring just to make sure I have everything accurate. The most important one, though, is having that outer line marked along the outside of the pant leg. And I'm going to be doing that on both sides. After you have your markings, what you're going to do is measure up from that line of top stitching up to the line that you marked. And you're going to take note of this measurement because you're going to need it for the other pant leg. Mine came out to about 2.5 inches. And on the other pant leg, you're going to measure up from that line of top stitching, that same amount. You're going to mark that second pant leg all the way around to make sure you've got that clearly defined line. This is going to be your guideline for when we start sewing. So just make sure you mark it on the other side of that other pant leg too. Then after I mark, I'm just going to double check my measurement to make sure I've got that same 2.5 inches. You know what they say, measure 52 times and cut once. Now we're going to fold the bottom of that pant leg up and match that row of top stitching to our marked line and pin it in place all the way around. And I'm just double checking just to make sure I line it up along that line, have it nice and even. And you can use as many pins as you need to. Don't have any shame in your pin game. So I'm going to take one final peek to make sure I've got it lined up correctly and one final measurement. And if you've done this right, this measurement should be half of your original measurement. I've got 1.25 inches that checks out, so let's take it over to the machine. And you're going to stitch down as close to the original hem line as possible. And take your time when you're going over the seam line. I like to slightly lift up my presser foot just so I can get over that hump. And on my machine, I have my stitch length set to a little bit wider. It was at about a 3.5. So far, so good, nice and close. Now I'm gonna take it over to my ironing board to press that seam along the inside of the pant leg and the outside. It's just gonna make it a bit easier when we go to top stitch it down. Now we're going to trim off that excess bit of seam allowance down to about 1/2 inch. Then you'll want to clean that trim edge up with a zigzag stitch, or you can serge it to prevent the denim from fraying. I'm going to give it one final press. Of course, you can skip this step if you like, but I feel like it makes the top stitching much smoother. Finally, we're going to top stitch along the edge of that seam about 1/8 inch from the seam line. We're almost home free, y'all, and just make sure when you're going over those side seam humps, take your time. And if it helps you, lift up your presser foot just slightly. And that, my lovelies, is a wrap. Now you've got a nice clean finish. And the length is just right, so you don't have to worry about your jeans scraping the floor anymore. I hope you found this little tutorial helpful. And if you did, please let me know down in the comments. I'd love your feedback. And just for fun, what's your favorite cut of jeans? Mine's are flares, but I'd love to know yours. Until next time, y'all, take care.